I think for a great country like India, with the largest population in the world, with thousands of years of history, the worst thing which can happen to India is someone else comes to you and say, you need to accept these values. You need to treat country A as your enemy. You need to treat country B as your enemy. And then they will tell you that's the worst which can happen to India, is that you cannot buy oil from Russia, while they themselves are buying oil, buy uranium, buy many other things from Russia. And then they say to India that if you buy oil and sell oil for a profit, you are changing international order. No, that means Indians are smart if they can make a profit out of the trade. What do they expect? Do they expect Indians are dumb so that they buy oil and sell oil for a loss? Come on. I think it's very presumptuous for these people, for these countries, to come to the door of a great nation like India and try to make mockery of such great nation. And it is very presumptuous for President Trump to call the Indian economy as a dead economy. No, the Indian economy is not dead. The Indian economy has great potential. So if the people in India believe in these proclamations that the Indian economy is dead, then you lose all hope. You need to make up your own mind and really strive for your own potentials. Now, the American panelists talked about China and China-US trade war imposed by the United States. China is ready to talk with the United States if they are serious. But if the United States really wants to pick a fight with China, China will fight till the very end, until the United States will not have a single iota of rare earth. That will bring their national defense industry to a complete halt. So I hope decision makers in Washington will realize what is the consequence of imposing maximum pressure on China. China will not give in to the pressure from Washington. China will treat the United States as an equal. But if the United States wants to bully China, China will fight back with all its resources until, for example, two-way trade between China and the United States grinds to a complete halt. Do any American people believe that will be the best solution for the United States? The farmers in the United States are already crying foul because they cannot sell their soybean to the Chinese market. China is now buying soybeans and many other agricultural products from Argentina, from Brazil. So the American farmers will lose this season of their products. They cannot sell these products to the largest market in China. Who is at fault? The responsibility lies in whoever who launched this anti-China trade war. This is the consequence that they are suffering, and China is defending free trade. Tell any American that defending free trade is in their own interest, rather than against the Americans' interest.
You want to respond to that, Dr. Dave Bratt?
Yeah, well, first of all, I asked some of my free trade libertarian friends, can you do free trade with a Chinese totalitarian communist system? And it's laughable on its face. Free trade goes back to Adam Smith and free markets and the price system, right? And so China doesn't have free anything. They don't have free people. They don't have free markets. And their talking points, that was just a host of talking points, negative. They do not know how to find a win-win global solution if it hit them in the head. Right? The idea that a totalitarian regime is talking about freedom in any sense, much less free markets. Why are they building up a blue navy the size of they're building up weapon systems on all these islands and whatever? Let's get rid of all that stuff, right? Let's just do trade, have no tariffs on anybody, and move forward, right? So I don't buy that line at all. I don't see any evidence that China's trying to win friends around the world. India, the same talking points. We don't whine in the U.S. One of your guys was just talking about World War II, and we're killing people over here like Lenin and Stalin and what. I'm not aware of any deaths over here. If you could point to one, it might be helpful before you go off on the diatribe. And just as a footnote, the U.S. won World War II. Right? People might be marching around in different uniforms if it wasn't for the good guys in the United States of America fighting with the Allies, chiefly among them Russia. I saw a jaw drop. But just wanted to point out the U.S. Played a major role there for freedom for the world. right? We have a couple oceans between us, and we stepped out and we provided the buildup after the war with Reconstruction, with the Marshall Plan. The memories seem a little faulty on the goodwill put forward by the good old United States for the last 70 years. And now it's time for everybody to step up with rules and principles that they will sign on the dotted line, including China. What rules will you live by in a global order? And I'm dying to see that signature.
Okay, many hands going up. Victor Gao, I'd like you to respond first, and then I'll go across to other panelists. Victor Gao.
If this is a question for me, let me tell the American panelists, don't mess around with free trade and don't destroy free trade. To protect free trade is to protect the fundamental interest of the American people. And you need to tell the American people who will pay for all these tariffs charged by the United States. It is the American people who will pay all these tariffs. So don't deny the American people of their right to know the truth. Don't tell them lies. Tell them the truth, that the American people will pay for all these tariffs. Don't fool the American people as you want to fool the people in India. No, the Indian people are very smart. They will not give in to your attempt as if they are kindergarten kids without knowledge. They have 5,000 years or 8,000 years of civilization, much longer than your civilization. And to lecture to nations like Indians is complete absurd. It doesn't create any constructive purpose. You should not go to India and tell them which country is their enemy. That decision should be made by the people in India themselves. They do not need an outsider to tell them who is their friend and who is their enemy.